Viewers and subscribers, welcome to another video. People, in this video, we want to discuss whether we should concede that after 30 years of self rule, of freedom, of independence, the ANC has failed the nation and should peacefully hand over the country to a well deserving party. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Hello. So people, let us let us discuss something, right? Other countries, when they are fed up with their government, right? What do? They protest, right? They take to the street. They vote out. Every revolution doesn't need doesn't have to be violent, right? Some say 30 years is not a lot of time. Some say 30 years is like more than enough, right? So my whole point is, if you're thinking 30 years, 30 years, right? It's not a lot of time to get a country right. Then what is the minimum turnaround time to get a country to be working? Because my point is, if we're looking at Burkina Faso, for example, right? That man has been in power for about 2 years now, right? 2 years. Right? 2023, 25, yeah. So it's like 2 years, going on to 3 years, right? So if we're saying he's doing that within, if he's doing what he's doing within 3 years, then what is happening to us? Why is it like we are regressing instead of progressing? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it looks like the that explosive growth that we had from 96 to 2006 has basically died down. You understand what I'm saying? They've stopped building RGP houses. They've stopped literally every meaningful thing that they ever started. So it's like we're regressing. So what is the way forward? Obviously, because sometimes we're thinking, give them more time. Maybe they will come right. Others are thinking, we've given them more than enough time. They're not going to come right, right? So if we know that they're not going to come right, why are we still going the peaceful route, right? Why are we using the peaceful route? Because at the end of the day, to be honest, I don't think that the peaceful route is going to work, because no African government has ever voluntarily given up power. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, I just feel like we need to find an amicable solution where they can just live peacefully. I don't know if that makes sense, or I don't even know if that will ever make sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we cannot continue like this. So, what is a possible solution? What can we do? That's the whole point. Ah, you see about that, right? People. So, this is what I think, right? We have three options. Option number one, we take the slow, painful process of having to go the voting route and vote them out. Route number two, we take the oh wait. We take the small route, we take the quick faster route, right? And what we do is we protest, right? We protest, work them out. You understand what I'm saying? Protest. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're not supposed to burn things down, right? Thirdly, they have to virtually just come out and just do what they want to do. But at the same time, they have to voluntarily leave. But is that possible, to let them voluntarily leave? That's my thing, right? So if they're not going to voluntarily leave, so those are the three options, of which voluntarily leaving is definitely not the thing that they're going to do. Now we know that for a fact, right? So voting them out is going to take another, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years. Is that something we can actually do? Number two, protesting, getting them out by force. That is possibly the best option. But if you vote them out by force, does that mean having to burn down things, break down things, or can peaceful protesting work? Third option, they voluntarily leave. And that we know they're not going to do. Now, you have that, right? So these are the three options we have. Which one would you think is the best option to go for? Because voting is taking forever. Protesting seems to be the fastest and quickest way, but we're going to have to destroy stuff because there's no way in Africa that people riot that there's no infrastructure that doesn't get damaged. And volunteering, they definitely not going to do that. So, as a collective, as a nation, which option would be the best way? Let's say we go the voting route and they then begin, because desperate parties take desperate measures, right? So, what if we go the voting route and then they begin to do the whole vote rigging thing? Or do you think that's not possible in South Africa? Because I believe that at some point it's going to come down to that because that's the norm in the other African countries. These countries resort to vote rigging. So imagine we decide to take the voting route and then they resort to vote rigging. Then what? That's my question. Okay. So one thing that most of us, if not almost all of South Africans, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, everything, right? One thing we can almost all agree on is that our government, our current government, has failed us. What we may differ on is the method of a way forward, right? We may differ on that. Now, I am I am totally opposed to the I'm totally opposed to the voting out of because 5 years is a long time to wait for something. Because in the meantime, in between time, they will take, they will loot. You know how much, dude? Do you know how much can be looted within 5 years? That's the thing. Do you know how much can be looted within 5 years? And then you saying, no, give them an extra 5 years before we vote them out. People, I don't think that's the right route to take. Okay, let's take the protest route. So we protest. We'll try the Mahatma Gandhi way, the peaceful demonstrations. How will that turn out to be? Is there such a thing? Can us as African people protest peacefully? Like how they do with placards and not break things up and not destroy infrastructure? I don't think that is possible on the African continent. In Europe, in America, maybe. But in Africa, I don't think that's possible. But I really feel that is the best solution because violence and destruction has proven to be the only way the government ever listens to the people. Now, I'm not advocating for violence and I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if we have to choose a way forward to get them out, then violence, violent protest is the only way to go. You saw it happening in Joburg and KwaZulu Natal, right? In Durban. I mean, the government didn't want to listen. And then when that those protests happened, the government actually stood up and listened to the people. Finally, they heard what they wanted to, but the cries were right, and you heard that. So I'm like, cool with it. Okay, let's look at the third option: voluntarily leaving. I I don't know. I'm not saying there isn't a party in history that hasn't voluntarily left. I'm not saying that, but In Africa, I don't know if that has ever been the case. But here's my thing, right? So I'm trying to figure out if, whether or not, right? The what's the word? What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? What's the I don't know if it's I don't know if it's possible for a person to actually do something like to just leave. If it's ever possible, I'm not sure, man. You know what I'm saying? So people, let us look at all the possibilities. Is each one possible? Number one, is it possible to vote the ANC out? No, it is not possible. They have a dwindling support base, but they still hold a majority. So voting is not going to work. Okay, number two, violent protests. Will that work? No, it will not work. The ANC still has a big support base. Now, here's the thing. The ANC have deep rooted, deep rooted connections, and they have a deep rooted history with the older generations within South Africa. A lot of people still believe in the ANC. They believe the ANC has gone wayward, but what they still do believe is that the ANC will turn things around eventually. They feel that there's a few bad apples in the government and within the ANC, and those people need to be driven out. But the thing is, these people need a lot of convincing that the ANC has totally failed the nation. Now, here's my question to you. How do you tell someone who was given a house, water, electricity, a flushing toilet, a yard, a tender, a you name it, things they never had before, things they dreamed of, that they were given by the ANC for the first time in their living memory. The ANC came and built them houses, gave them jobs, gave them this, gave them opportunities, and now they are rich. How do you tell those people that the ANC needs to go? That's my question. Now, sadly, camera, sadly, the ANC, or gratefully, the ANC still has a support base. Right now, we cannot, yeah, the water, we cannot take that away from the ANC, right? So, voting is not an option because they have a strong support base, all right? Because they cultivated this base earlier on when they came to power. Number two, protesting won't work again because the people that voted them into power are going to still defend them to the very last dying day. Then we move to the third option, voluntarily. The ANC will never volunteer to give power up because power is an addictive thing. Having power is actually something that's more powerful than any drug possible if you didn't know. Now, here's the thing, most people are going to say to me, but the ANC has lost support. Yes, the ANC has lost support, will continue to lose support. But for as long as there are people in the older generation who have received things from the ANC, they will not lose that support. Why do you think the ANC was able to win back the Eastern Cape from the DA? What makes you think that? Why do you think the ANC has always been able to bounce back? It's because the ANC goes back to its core constituents and reminds them of what they didn't have and what they do have because of the ANC. Always remember that it's the core foundational base that holds the ANC in place. Now, you may not think this is relevant. You may not think, that doesn't count for anything. But trust you me, when people still talk in the terms of, well, I vote ANC because of Mandela. I vote ANC because they brought me freedom. And I'm not talking people that are in the 60s or 70s. No, people in their 40s, people in their 30s, 40s. That means by the time it's what they still have what, let's just give or take, they'll still have another 70, 80 years to live. So another, no, not 70, 80, another 20, 40, 20, 30 years to live. These people are not going to keep these people in power, if that's what it means. Imagine if all the people that vote for the ANC are going to live a long life. That means you're still going to have to put up with the ANC for another, I don't know, 50 years. So that's my whole point. It's like, guys, we are watching our country disintegrate in real time, and the government is doing nothing to stop it, right? So let's give credit where credit is due, right? The ANC didn't start off by doing nothing for the people. They started off by doing massive rollouts for everything. RTP houses, um, um, the AIDS vaccines, and what was called HIV rollouts, the TRC. Oh, they did in the beginning. The ANC was the party of the future. That's the way they came into power, and all that has just faded away. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this video. Was I on the money, or did I totally miss it with this one? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holler.